All right, this is our last video for the unit. It is about algebraic properties. And most specifically, we're going to look at the commutative property, the associative, and the distributive property. So let's start with the commutative property. The commutative property, and this is on your notes, guys, so we're going to write some stuff down. The commutative property simply means that if I change the order in which two numbers are, we're going to first just look at addition here. If I change the order in which two numbers are added, it does not change the sum or the answer. Okay, so let's look at this. If I have a plus b, that is the same as adding b plus a. So let's just say that I'm going to put some real numbers in. So if I have 5 plus 3, that is the same as saying 3 plus 5, because 5 plus 3 is 8 and 3 plus 5 is 8. So I can change the order in which I add, and it doesn't change, it doesn't affect the answer. All right, so even if I have a string of numbers, 8 plus 3 plus 2, that's the same as saying 2 plus 8 plus 3. This is 11 plus 2 is 13, and this is 10 plus 3 is still 13. It doesn't change the order as long as I'm just adding. Okay, so go ahead and write down that example. So commutative, that's the commutative property. Now let's look at the commutative property for multiplication, which is actually the same exact thing. If I change the order in which two numbers are multiplied, it doesn't change the answer. So let's just pick some numbers. So this says a plus b, or a times b is the same as b times a. So let's just put some real numbers in here. Let's say 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2, because 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 2 is also 6. Right? Again, it does not matter unless if I have multiple numbers. Let's say 8 times 2 times 3, or 3 times 2 times 8. This is 6 times 8 is going to give me 48, and this is 16 times 3 is still going to give me 48. Okay, so let's just kind of combine these. The commutative property, for addition or multiplication, means that it doesn't matter the order in which if I can change the order, doesn't matter the order in which I add or subtract, it's still going to give me the same answer. All right, so let's think about, would that work for subtraction or division? Can I change the order in a subtraction or division problem and it would come out the same? Well, let's see. If I have 5 minus 3, is that the same as 3 minus 5? No, that is not the same. Or if I have 35 divided by 5, is that the same as saying 5 things divided by 35? No, that doesn't work. So the commutative property only works for addition and multiplication. Only works for addition and multiplication. All right. One of the ways that I remember the commutative, that it's the commutative property, is I think of a commute. Like if your parents commute to work, they start at home and then they go to work. So the distance, let's say the distance from here to here is 15 miles. But then when they go from work back to home, it's still 15 miles. So I'm traveling the same amount. So I commute from here to here, but my commute from work back to home is the same. So that's kind of how I think of commutative. It helps me remember the property itself. Okay, so I need you to pause the video and write these examples down if you have not. All right, let's move to the associative. So let's start with addition. So the associative property of addition simply means that I'm grouping. I'm using parentheses. So I'm grouping different things. So if I change the way that I group it, it still doesn't change my answer or the sum. All right, so let's say a plus b in parentheses plus c is the same as saying a plus the parentheses of b plus c. So let's put real numbers in there because I think that's going to help you. So let's say 4 plus 5 plus 3 is the same Let's put my order the same. So you see I still have the same order, 4, 5, and 3, 4, 5, and 3. But instead, I'm going to group these first. I'm going to group them first. So 4 plus 5, that's 9. Plus 3, that's going to give me 12. But over here, I'm going to do my parentheses first. So 5 plus 3, that's 8. Plus 4 is still going to give me 12. All right. So no matter where I group them, it's still going to come up with the same answer. So let's do a different one. Let's say 3, 6, and 4. So I've got my problem here. 3, 6, and 4. I'm going to add each one of them. But let's say I put the parentheses here. But over here, I'm going to put my parentheses here. So this is 9 plus 4 is going to give me 13. And this is 3 plus 10, which is still going to give me 13. All right, so it doesn't matter how I group them. All right, so multiplication is the exact same thing. It doesn't matter where I put those parentheses, I'm still going to come up with the same answer. I'm going to come up with the same answer. So let's do some numbers here. Let's do 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4. So it doesn't matter. So at this point, I'm going to group these two together first, because remember, grouping means that's what I'm going to do first in my problem, because the order of operation. So this would be 6 times 4, which is going to give me 24. But over here, I'm going to do these parentheses first. So 3 times 4, that gives me 12, times 2, which is still going to give me 24. All right? So that makes sense that it doesn't matter how I group things when I add or multiply, I would come up with the same answer. The way that I remember that it's the associative property is I think of kind of like with my friends. I have different friends. So let's say I have friend A, B, and C. Let's say on Wednesday, I'm going to probably associate with my friends A and B. But on Friday, I still have my friends A, B, and C, but I'm just going to associate with B and C. A's not there anymore. So I don't know. That's how I remember commutative and associative. Associative is who I associate with because I have different groups of friends. And commutative, I think of commuting. So home to work and work to home. All right. So hopefully those help you with the two words. All right. So if you did not, go ahead and write that down on your notes. Pause the video, and then we'll do some practice. All right, so let's do some practice problems here. So for 1 through 4, I want you to mark either an A for associative, C for commutative. Okay, go back and look at your notes. Remember what associative means, what I associate with, my groups, and commutative, the order. All right, so pause the video and check those answers out. All right, check your answers. So this is the commutative because the order didn't matter. And to be specific, this is the commutative property of multiplication because I'm multiplying. This is the associative. Do you see my grouping symbols are different? I've grouped differently. Associative property of addition. This is associative property of multiplication because I have multiplication. And this is my commutative property of addition. All right? All right, check out 5 and 6. Go ahead and answer those problems. Which one is an example of commutative? Which one is the associative? All right, both of them were B. Remember, for the commutative property and the associative, you have the exact same numbers. It's just for commutative, they're in a different order. And the associative, the grouping symbols. Oh, I take that back, guys. This is so not right. Hopefully you saw that. See, I just made my mistake. This is actually, it's C here. My fault on that one. So my order didn't change, 7, 3, and 6, 7, 3, and 6, but my grouping changed. Okay? All right, so that's the associative and the commutative. Now we're going to move to the distributive property. If you remember earlier in the year, we talked about the distributive property. So this is a little bit of a refresher, but now we have variables with it. So it's going to change just a little bit. So remember, when we multiply, when we have a number outside of the parentheses, that means we're going to multiply. If you remember, we had something like this before. So remember when some of you are calling this rainbow. So that means I'm distributing this 5. So 5 times 3 is 15 plus, keep the same symbol, operation sign, and then 5 times 2. So that's 10. Okay, but now we're gonna move to, in just a second, we're gonna have some variables here. So let's copy an example here. So I'm gonna go ahead and use real numbers here. So I'm gonna say 5, 3, and 4. All right, so I'm gonna distribute this. So this actually means 5 times 3. So it means 5 times 3 plus 5 times 4. 5 times 4. All right. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna stay on this side over here. So 5 times 3 is 15, and 5 times 4 is 20, which is the same thing over here. 5 times 3 is 15, and 5 times 4 is 20. Ooh, but I should have a plus sign. Go ahead and make sure you put a plus sign in between that there. That should have a plus sign. So this is 35 is equal to 35. Okay? Hopefully you kind of remember a little bit about that. So let's move on to some examples. All right, so now we're going to have a variable with it. So this is where it gets a little bit more tricky. So I'm still going to distribute, so that means 3 times x. Well, I don't know what x is, so it's just 3x. I don't know what it is, but I know I'm supposed to multiply 3 times whatever the value of x is. So just leave it like that. Keep your sign, plus, and then 3 times 4, which is 12. That's your answer. You're not going to come up with an exact answer. You're going to have a variable there. All right. Again, this is not on your homework or on your notes page. These are just some examples we're doing together. All right, let's multiply this up. 6x times 5, 6x times 5. So 6 times 5 is 30, and then I would just have an x with it. Keep my sign, and then 6x times 2, well, 6 times 2 is 12, and I would just have an x. Now, in this case, because you know how to combine like terms, aren't those like terms? So you can simplify this a little bit more. So this would actually equal 30 minus 12 is going to be 18x. So you can simplify it a little bit more, but you still don't know the value of x. All right. All right, we've got 3 more to do together. All right, 5 times x is simply going to be 5x. Keep my sign, plus, and then 5 times 4. That's 20. All right, we get a little bit longer here. That's okay. Don't freak out. 6 times x is simply 6x. Keep my sign, minus 6 times y is just 6y, plus 6 times 3. That's 18. Now, can I combine anything here? Do I have any like terms? Nope, I don't. So I'm done. That's as much as I can do. All right, this one gets even longer. Let's see what you can do. So 9 times 3x. Well, 9 times 3 is 27, and then I would just keep my x, keep my sign, minus, and then 9 times 2 is 18. Keep my sign, plus. Then I have to distribute this. 5 times x is 5x. Keep my sign, plus 40. Oh, do I have anything I can combine here? Yes, I have a 5x and a 27x. So that gives me 32 x's. And then I have a minus 18 and a plus 40. So 40 minus 18 is going to give me 22. All right. Okay, let's see how you do. All right, you've got 6 problems. I want you to pause the video and check out those 6 problems. All right, check your answers. Number 5, I did not intend for that to be so hard with the subtracting of the whole numbers there. But go through and check your answers. This distributive property is with the variables. Now, we have done this before, but with the variables is a harder concept. So if you have problems with this, please let me know. And I have some more sheets we can do some practice on. But like I said, this one is a little bit more of a difficult concept. So, okay. I have a video exit slip. I want you to, there are 8 problems this time. So for the video exit slip, 1 through 5, I want you to mark, is it the associative property, the commutative property, or the distributive property? Just put the letter there. But then for 6, 7, and 8, I want you to use the distributive property. So I want you to solve it, and if you need to, combine like terms. Okay? Again, if you're having problems with this distributive property, I know it's a little bit more difficult, please make sure and talk to us. Okay? Hope you have a great day.